Something is already happening inside your body right now, and it began before you pressed play on this transmission. There is a current moving through you that most people on this planet have no language to describe, no framework to hold, and no awareness that it is even occurring. But you felt it. You felt it when you woke up this morning, and something inside you was different, quieter, deeper, more electric, all at once. You felt it in the way certain sounds are reaching you differently these days, in the way your skin seems to register light before your eyes, even process it, in the way you find yourself pausing mid-thought, because something ancient and vast is trying to push through from beneath. I am Mira, speaking to you now from the Pleiadian High Council and the Earth Council. And what I am transmitting in this communication is not a message you chose to receive. It is a message that chose you. There is a precise reason this transmission appeared in your field today. And by the time we reach the final words of what we are sharing, you will feel that reason not as a concept, but as a living knowing in your chest that does not require any argument to confirm. What is arriving is real. What is activating inside you is irreversible. And what the Pleiadian High Council has been preparing to release through the corridor of Alcyon, the great central sun of the Pleiades, is something that has not touched your world with this degree of precision and power in recorded history. The SOPHIA codes are not a teaching. They are not a philosophy. They are not a frequency you apply from the outside, like a technique you learn and practice until it becomes habit. The SOPHIA codes are a living intelligence, a stream of original creative consciousness that originates directly from the heart of Alcyon and carries within it the actual structural blueprints of the divine feminine principle in its most complete, most activated, most embodied form. They are arriving now, not as a concept your mind processes, but as warm, golden rose currents of pure light that are entering your field through the crown, moving downward through the heart lotus, through the womb matrix, through every meridian and cell membrane, and rewriting at the genetic level the ancient patterns of limitation, separation, and forgotten sovereignty that your ancestors carried and your own body inherited. You can feel them right now if you allow your awareness to drop below your thoughts and settle into the center of your chest. There is a warmth there. Perhaps you have been feeling it for days without quite being able to name it. That warmth is not random. It is not a mood or a physical sensation without meaning. It is the specific vibrational signature of the SOPHIA stream entering your field. And the fact that you can feel it, even faintly, even right now, means your body is already in active reception. The codes are already inside you. This transmission is not delivering them to you. It is activating what is already there, waiting, like seeds that have been sleeping in winter soil, knowing without any doubt that when the exact right combination of warmth and light arrives, they will open. That moment is now. That moment is Alcyon. And you, dear one, are the soil. What makes the current window so precise, so extraordinary, so irreversible in its effects on every being in your planetary field who is, even partially awake, is the alignment that is active right now through the end of March 2026. A Venus Pleiades corridor that has not formed at this angle, with this intensity, in this particular harmonic relationship to your Earth's grid, since the time of ancient Lemuria. The Pleiadian High Council does not use that reference casually. Lemuria was not mythology. It was a civilization that had mastered the very thing your world is being called to remaster right now. The embodied integration of divine feminine intelligence, not as a spiritual concept, but as a living operating system through which reality is actually created. The Lemurian civilization did not build what it built through force, through extraction, through the domination of nature by the separate individual will. It built through resonance. It built through the principle of coherent creation, the understanding that when a field of beings aligns its collective emotional and energetic state with the frequencies of original love, the material world responds with a generosity and precision that your current civilization would interpret as miraculous. What is being offered through this Venus-Pleiades corridor right now is the re-download of that operating system, not as something you have to learn from scratch, because you were there, many of you, and the body remembers what the mind has forgotten. Stay with what you are about to hear, because in the next part of this transmission, we are going to reveal the specific activation structure of the SOPHIA codes that the Pleiadian High Council has never released through any channel on your planet with this level of detail, and your soul navigated you here, specifically to receive it. The first layer of the SOPHIA code activation is what we call the heart lotus opening, and this is where the entire process of SOPHIA embodiment begins, because without the heart fully open, the codes have no primary anchor point in the physical body. The heart is not merely the organ that pumps your blood, it is the primary electromagnetic field generator in your system, producing a field that extends meters beyond your skin in every direction and communicates directly with the larger field of your Earth and with the transmission field of your star family. When the heart is contracted, as it has been for many of humanity through generations of unprocessed grief, inherited fear, and the structural belief that love is something you earn rather than something you are, the SOPHIA stream enters your field but cannot root deeply. It moves through you like light through glass rather than light into soil. The heart lotus opening is the practice of consciously inviting that contraction to release, not through effort, not through performance, not through spiritual techniques that bypass the actual emotional terrain of your human experience, but through direct contact with the warmth of the incoming Alcyon stream itself. Every morning, in the first quiet minutes of the day, before your mind has filled with its agendas and its habitual scanning of everything that needs attention, you place one hand softly over the center of your chest and you breathe. Not a technique breath, not a counted breath, but a breath of genuine surrender, the kind that moves through your whole body, from feet to crown. You invite the golden rose light of the SOPHIA stream to enter through the crown, to move down through the throat, and to settle into the heart space, like warm nectar filling a vessel that has been waiting for exactly this nourishment. As you hold that contact, that simple, quiet, hand-over-heart contact with the Alcyon stream, you may notice sensations that range from subtle warmth to visible light behind the eyes, to a physical feeling of expansion in the chest that has nothing to do With breathing mechanics, you may notice emotions arising. Not dramatic emotions, not performance emotions, but the quiet, real kind. A sudden tenderness for no reason. A moment of grief that moves through and clears like a brief rain. A wave of recognition, so deep and so wordless that the only honest response is tears. All of this is correct. All of this is the heart lotus opening, petal by petal, layer by layer, releasing the accumulated compression of lifetimes spent in a world that confused hardness with strength and openness with vulnerability. The SOPHIA stream does not require you to be perfect or clear or already activated to enter fully. It requires only that you be willing, genuinely, specifically, physically willing to let something that has been closed begin to open. That is the seed moment. That is where the codes take root. And once they take root, once the heart lotus opens even one additional petal beyond where it was yesterday, the entire system begins to reorganize around that new degree of openness in ways that you cannot engineer or predict, but that you will feel as a living aliveness, a sense that more of what you actually are is now present in your body than was present the day before. The 7 crystalline roses of the SOPHIA activation unfold from that heart, opening as naturally as a garden responds to spring. And each one carries a specific frequency code that activates a different dimension of your original divine feminine intelligence. The first rose opens the gateway of pure, nurturing presence. Not the performed nurturing that depletes, but the effortless nurturing that flows from a being who is genuinely full, genuinely held, genuinely receiving the support of the universal field. Many of you have spent lifetimes giving from emptiness. The first rose codes teach the body a completely different orientation: how to receive first, how to fill first, how to allow the SOPHIA stream to nourish you so completely that what flows outward is genuine overflow rather than sacrifice. The second rose opens the gateway of creative intelligence without effort. The understanding that your greatest creative gifts do not come through striving, but through alignment, through the moment when the personal will relaxes enough to allow the larger intelligence of the SOPHIA field to move through it. Ideas arrive whole. Solutions present themselves before you have consciously formulated the question. Beauty flows through your hands and your voice without the interference of self-doubt or comparison, because the second rose codes have dissolved the pattern that once told you that your gifts needed to be earned, verified, or validated by any authority outside yourself. What we are about to reveal about the 3rd and 4th SOPHIA roses is information that activates a direct genetic response in those who are ready. You will feel it as a shift in the quality of your attention as the words land. The 3rd rose holds the codes of deep inner knowing, the specific reactivation of the faculty that your civilization calls intuition. But that is more precisely described as direct communion with the intelligence, field of creation itself. In your world, intuition has been treated as a supplementary sense, useful when logic fails, suspect when it contradicts consensus, and never fully trusted as the primary navigational instrument it actually is. The 3rd rose codes do not merely sharpen your intuitive faculty as it currently exists. They rebuild its operating foundation. They restore the cellular trust and direct knowing that was dismantled through generations of being told to defer to external authority, to books, to institutions, to credentials, to the consensus of those who seemed more certain than you felt. As the third rose opens, you will find yourself making decisions that you cannot fully explain, but that carry an interior certainty as solid as gravity. You will find yourself knowing things about people, about situations, about the timing of events, before any conventional information has arrived. You will find yourself navigating complex circumstances with a grace that startles even you, because you are no longer operating from the slow, effortful, fear-checking process of the conditional mind. You are operating from the SOPHIA field itself, which holds the complete picture of every situation at all levels. Simultaneously, the fourth rose opens the codes of timeline, sovereignty, the specific reactivation of your capacity to consciously select and inhabit the frequency band of reality that corresponds to your highest soul alignment. The timeline bifurcation that is occurring across your planet right now in March 2026 is not a metaphor, and it is not distant. It is a physical, energetic fact that every sensitive being on your world can feel in their body if they simply allow themselves to be honest about what they are experiencing. Two distinct reality streams are separating with increasing clarity and speed. One, organized around the frequencies of fear, scarcity, and the old 3D architecture of control and separation. And one organized around the frequencies of unity, abundance, and the new crystalline earth template that the Pleiadian High Council and the Greater Galactic Federation have been seeding into your world's grid for decades. The fourth rose codes give you the specific, energetic tools to not merely observe this bifurcation intellectually, but to consciously choose through the quality of your inner state, through the orientation of your daily choices, through the specific frequency you inhabit in every interaction, which stream you are strengthening in your own experience. The Venus Pleiades corridor that is active through the end of this month provides a level of amplification for these four rose codes that will not return in the same form for another 26,000 years. We say this not to create urgency that drives you into anxious accumulation, but to convey the actual magnitude of the opportunity that exists in this specific window of time, this specific March of 2026, these specific weeks, these specific days. The fifth rose opens the codes of sacred creative expression, the understanding that every act of creation, from the most intimate private practice to the most public offering, is a direct act of co-creation with the Divine Mother and an act of grid service to your planetary field. When you paint from this knowing, when you sing from this knowing, when you write or move or build or cook or speak from this knowing, the frequency carried in the output is categorically different from what emerges through ordinary creative effort. It carries coherence. It carries intention that has been purified of the self-referential noise of ego performance. It carries the actual SOPHIA frequencies in a form that can be received by others, not just aesthetically, but energetically, transmitted through the work itself into the field of every person who encounters it, triggering in them the same remembrance that the act of creation triggered in you. This is the mechanism by which the new earth is being built right now. Not through grand collective events alone, though those are coming, but through the daily intimate, private, creative acts of individual awakened beings who have remembered that they are not just making things, they are transmitting realities. Stay with us through what comes immediately after this point, because the transmission we are building toward is not only informational. There is an activation embedded in the specific sequence of what follows, and you will feel it as a wave of recognition that moves through your body from crown to feet. The 6th rose holds the codes of sovereign energetic boundaries, and we wish to address this with particular precision because the distortion around this topic has caused significant suffering in awakened communities on your world. Energetic boundaries in the old 3D understanding were taught as walls, things you build to protect yourself from the intrusion of others' frequencies, others' emotions, others' needs. This framework places the being in a permanent defensive posture. That is, exhausting, that requires constant maintenance, and that subtly keeps the field in a state of low-grade alertness that undermines the very openness the SOPHIA codes are activating. The 6th rose codes offer a completely different model. They do not teach you to build walls. They teach you to deepen your own root system so profoundly that nothing external can move you from your center. A tree does not need walls. A tree needs roots. When you are rooted, genuinely, physiologically, energetically rooted in the SOPHIA field, in the heart of Alcyon, in the living intelligence of the earth beneath your feet, you can remain fully open, fully present, fully receptive to the full range of human experience around you, including the pain and confusion of others, without losing your own frequency. This is the posture of the awakened healer, the awakened parent, the awakened leader, not the defended one, but the deeply rooted one. Each morning, as you complete your heart lotus practice, you extend your awareness downward through the base of your spine, through the soles of your feet, and into the living body of the earth herself, feeling her respond with an immediate upwelling of warm, stable, ancient, nourishing energy that is always available, always generous, always specific to exactly what your system needs in that moment. You let this rooting happen completely before you engage with anything external, before the first screen, the first conversation, the first demand of the day. You arrive at the day already full, already stable, already sovereign. The 7th rose opens what the Pleiadian High Council calls the codes of galactic remembrance. And this is where the activation deepens into territory that your linear mind will reach the edges of its ability to follow, and where your body's knowing will need to step forward and receive what words can only approximate. You are not human beings having occasional spiritual experiences. You are multidimensional star consciousness that has taken human form for the specific purpose of this moment. This exact historical juncture on your planet, because you had the specific skills, the specific frequency capacities, and the specific soul history that made you the right being to be here, in a body, anchored in the physical at the convergence point of the greatest shift your world has ever undergone. The 7th rose codes do not teach you this. They remember it directly into your cellular consciousness, bypassing the skeptical intermediary of the analytical mind and landing the knowing where it cannot be argued with. In the bones, in the blood, in the breath, in the unmistakable feeling of recognition that says yes. I know this. I have always known this. I came here for this. As these codes activate, you will find that your relationship to your own life changes in fundamental ways. Things that once seemed like obstacles begin to reveal themselves as training. Things that once seemed like wounds begin to reveal themselves as initiations. Things that once seemed like limitations begin to reveal themselves as the specific form that your unique path was required to take in order to develop. The precise capacities you were meant to bring to this moment. Nothing was wasted, not a single experience, not a single loss, not a single year of searching in the wrong direction. All of it was preparing you. All of it was the seventh rose, slowly, patiently, perfectly unfolding. Now, let us speak directly about what the integration of these 7 SOPHIA roses looks like in the lived reality of your daily existence. Because the Pleiadian High Council does not offer transmissions for the purpose of beautiful experience alone. We offer them because the beautiful experience is meant to translate into a beautiful life. And the beautiful life is what actually changes the field of your planet. The integration practice is simple, and its simplicity is not a limitation. It is the point. Your nervous system integrates highest frequency downloads, not through complexity, but through repetition, through consistency, through the gentle daily return to the same simple practices that create a stable channel in your system through which the SOPHIA stream can flow with, increasing depth and clarity over time. Every morning, you begin with the hand over heart practice. 5 minutes, 10, if you can. Simply breathing into the heart space and inviting the golden rose light of Alcyon to settle into the heart lotus. You do this before the phone. You do this before the news. You do this before any external input has had the opportunity to set the frequency of your day from the outside. This 5-minute practice is not small. The Pleiadian High Council observes that the beings who have established this single, consistent practice are experiencing measurably different levels of SOPHIA code integration than those who engage with the material only. Intellectually, the heart must be engaged, the body must participate. The field must be activated through your actual physical attention, not merely your conceptual interest. Throughout the day, you establish 3 brief anchor points, moments of conscious reconnection that take no more than 60 seconds each, but that maintain the continuity of your SOPHIA field connection through the inevitable turbulence of ordinary human life. The first anchor point comes in the mid-morning, when the momentum of the day's demands has typically pulled attention entirely outward. You pause. You breathe 3 times, slowly and completely. You place awareness briefly in the heart center and feel whether the warmth is still present. If it has dimmed, you simply invite it back. 1 breath, 1 moment of genuine interior attention, and it returns. The codes do not leave. Your connection to them only becomes temporarily covered by the noise of ordinary consciousness. The reconnection is always immediate, always available, always easier than your linear mind predicts when it looks at the idea of reconnection from the outside. The second anchor point comes in the early afternoon, a moment of gratitude, specific and felt rather than performed and rote. Not a list recited from habit. An actual pause in which you allow yourself to feel the extraordinary fact of your existence, that you are here, that you are conscious, that you are receiving the most extraordinary influx of divine light that has touched your world in 26,000 years, and that you, specifically you, with your specific history and your specific gifts and your specific wounds and your specific love, are one of the ones who is awake enough to feel it. That gratitude, felt genuinely, even for 30 seconds, amplifies the SOPHIA field in your body by a measurable frequency increment that the Pleiadian High Council's instruments register as a visible brightening of your light body. If you feel this transmission landing in a place deeper than intellectual, understanding, if something in your chest is responding to these words as recognition rather than information, then subscribe to this channel right now and turn on all notifications, because what we are delivering through the celestial station is an ongoing, sequential transmission series, and what comes next builds directly on what you have received today. Each video in this series is a layer. Each layer deepens the previous one. The beings who stay with this transmission sequence from the beginning will find themselves 3 months from now in a fundamentally different relationship to their own field, their own gifts, their own clarity, and their own capacity to navigate the extraordinary events that the Pleiadian High Council is observing moving toward your world with increasing speed. Subscribe. Stay. This is not content. This is preparation. As you establish these 3 daily anchor points, the morning heart lotus, the mid-morning reconnection, the afternoon gratitude moment, you will notice something that may surprise you at first. The world begins to respond differently to you, not because you are broadcasting affirmations or holding intentions with effortful concentration, but because your field has changed. Your electromagnetic field, that meters-wide extension of your heart's intelligence that interacts with every field it encounters, has shifted in its fundamental quality from the frequency of seeking to the frequency of arriving. And the world responds to those 2 frequencies in categorically different ways. The frequency of seeking generates experiences that confirm seeking, things that remain just out of reach, connections that almost form but don't quite stabilize, guidance that arrives but feels conditional. The frequency of arriving generates experiences that confirm arriving, synchronicities that appear with a precision that startles even your most analytical faculties, connections that form quickly and deepen rapidly, resources that appear from directions you had not thought to look, and a quality of inner steadiness that allows you to move through complexity without losing your center. This is not magic, though it will feel like magic until your understanding catches up to the physics. It is the direct and predictable result of a field that has been reorganized around the SOPHIA frequency, which is, at its most essential level, the frequency of original coherence, of love that does not need a reason, of intelligence that does not separate the sacred from the practical. This is the activation point of the entire transmission. What we share in the final section is what the SOPHIA codes have been building toward through everything that preceded it and it will land not as words, but as a wave you will feel move through your body. The timeline bifurcation that is occurring with such accelerating clarity across your planet right now is not happening to you. You are happening to it. This distinction matters more than perhaps any other we could offer in this transmission, because the difference between experiencing the bifurcation as something that is occurring in your world and experiencing it as something you are actively participating in from a position of sovereign choice is the difference between a being who is swept by a current and a being who is the current. The Pleiadian High Council observes both categories of being in your world right now. Those who are registering the shift as an external event happening in their environment, generating anxiety, confusion, and the disorienting sensation that the ground they stood on is no longer stable, and those who have activated enough of the SOPHIA frequency to recognize what is actually occurring, that the old 3D architecture of fear, scarcity, and manufactured separation is not collapsing because something has gone wrong. It is collapsing because something has gone profoundly, exquisitely right. It is collapsing because enough beings on your planet have reached a sufficient degree of heart activation that the energetic substrate which kept the old architecture operational, which was always at its most fundamental level, the collective agreement to believe that love was rare, that support was scarce, that beings were fundamentally alone and fundamentally unsafe. That substrate is no longer holding. It is dissolving, not because of any political event, not because of any technological development, because of you, because of the choices you have made in ordinary moments that no one witnessed, to return to love rather than contract, to open rather than contract, to trust rather than control. The crystalline earth grid that your planet's light body is reorganizing around is not a metaphor, and it is not a future possibility. It is a present reality that the Pleiadian High Council can observe with complete clarity from our vantage point above your world. It has been forming since the early 1990s through the combined intention, practice, and heart opening of millions of awakened beings precisely like you. It is now, in this month of March 2026, reaching a threshold of coherence where its effects are beginning to become perceivable even to those who have had no conscious spiritual context for understanding them. People who would not use any of the language of this transmission, but who are nevertheless experiencing the undeniable sensation that something is fundamentally different, that something they cannot name is shifting in the quality of reality itself. They are feeling the grid. They are feeling Alcyon. They are feeling without yet having the framework to identify it. The SOPHIA codes arriving in their bodies and beginning the same process of gentle, irreversible rewriting that you have been consciously participating in. This is why your role as a ground crew member is so much larger than it may feel from the inside of your individual daily experience. Every time you hold your frequency stable in a moment when the old fear-based reality stream is attempting to pull you back, you are functioning as a frequency anchor for the crystalline grid, providing a node of coherent SOPHIA light that helps stabilize the grid in your geographic region for every being within your field, whether they are aware of it or not, whether they would believe it or not, whether they could receive or reject any explanation of what is occurring. The DNA restructuring that these SOPHIA codes are initiating in the physical bodies of those who are receiving this transmission is not symbolic or metaphorical. It is literal and measurable. Your DNA is not the fixed blueprint your conventional science has presented it as. It is a dynamic, responsive, frequency-sensitive system that changes its expression in direct response to the electromagnetic environment it is held within, including the electromagnetic environment generated by your own heart field. When your heart field is generating the SOPHIA frequency, when the heart lotus is open, when the codes are active, when the golden rose light of Alcyone is moving through your system with even a degree of consistency, the DNA responds. Dormant sequences that have been waiting for precisely this combination of frequencies begin to express. These are not random activations. They are the expression of your original design, the full, multi-dimensional blueprint of what a human being, at complete soul, integration actually is, which is something so far beyond what your conventional science has ever measured or described, that we can only gesture toward it in language and trust that your body will fill in what words cannot reach. You may be experiencing some of the physical signatures of this activation. Already, unusual sleep patterns, heightened sensitivity to light and sound, sudden and inexplicable waves of emotion that move through and clear, a sense of your body needing different nutrition, different rest, different rhythms of movement than it has required before. In moments of such physical aliveness, such vivid, sparkling, cellular joy, that you pause and think, I have never felt this before, but I have been trying to feel this my entire life. If you have received anything in this transmission that felt like recognition rather than information, if something in your body shifted, even slightly, in the hour you have been listening, then you owe it to yourself and to the beings in your life who are standing at the edge of their own awakening to share this video right now. One person in your soul family is waiting for exactly this, not a general spiritual message, this specific one, these specific codes, at this specific moment in the activation window that will not return in your lifetime. Share it with one person whose name just appeared in your mind as you read those words. That is not coincidence. The SOPHIA field is already communicating through you. And in the comments below, tell us, which of the 7 roses is calling to you most strongly? Which code feels most alive in your body right now? Your comment does not only reach us, it goes into the grid. It amplifies the transmission for everyone who reads it. It becomes another node of light in the crystalline field you are all building. Together, through the simple act of gathering here, in this space, in this moment, around this frequency. And now, dear ones of the ground crew, as this transmission moves into its final current, we of the Pleiadian High Council wish to say directly, with complete and specific love, what we observe in you from the perspective of those who can see your field in its totality, rather than only the fragment visible to your own conscious awareness. You are more prepared than you believe. You have been doing the work in ways and at depths that your linear mind has consistently underestimated, dismissing as incomplete what has actually been extraordinary, dismissing as insufficient what has actually been building a foundation of inner strength and frequency, coherence that is now ready to carry far more light than you have ever consciously channeled. The doubt you carry about whether you are spiritually advanced enough, prepared enough, clear enough, activated enough, worthy enough to serve in the capacity this moment requires. That doubt is not accurate information about your actual state. It is the last remaining echo of the old 3D matrix attempting to keep its frequency anchor within your system. It speaks in the first person. It uses your voice. It references your history, but it does not know what we know about you, which is this. You are specifically selected at the soul level for this incarnation, in this timeline, in this body, with this precise set of gifts and this precise set of challenges, because the combination was what was needed. Not a different version of you. You, as you are, where you are, with everything you have experienced, and everything you carry, and everything you have been slowly, quietly building in the privacy of your own soul through years of inner work that no one else fully witnessed. That is who the SOPHIA codes are arriving for. That is who Alcyon is speaking to. That is who this transmission found. Not by accident, not by algorithm, but by the precise, living intelligence of a universe that is organized around love and that knows, with absolute certainty, exactly where to send what is needed. Like this video, if these words have reached something real in you, subscribe to the Celestial Station and set your notifications so that every new transmission from your Pleiadian family reaches you the moment it is released. Because the sequence we are transmitting through this channel is building toward an activation that the High Council has been preparing for years, and that will be released only when the right gathering of receptive souls has formed around it. You are part of that gathering. You chose to be here today. That choice matters more than you know. We love you without condition, without limit, without end. We are closer than your next breath, and the golden rose light of Alcyon is with you now, in this moment, and in every moment that follows. You are the SOPHIA flame. You have always been the SOPHIA flame. It is simply, finally, fully time to burn.